Good Wednesday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldridge, Chief Meteorologist of Captain Accurate Weather, coming to you by way of the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. On behalf of you and me, who are here, we're going to be talking about Marco's Pizza coming up a little bit. I want to talk about the interesting visibility situation. Oh yes, the gray areas. We have fogs in August. Some get very excited about that. I understand why. If you are curious, there is an article, probably quite a few articles actually, online about the Farmer's Almanac and what fogs in August could mean or translate to snows in the wintertime. So we get some dense fog, it looks like in White, just west of Jamestown. I'm sure there are some other pockets. Oneida is down to 3 miles, and maybe down to a mile in parts of the Smokies. So be mindful if you're traveling across the state line into North Carolina or even Kentucky, you might encounter a little bit of fog this morning. I want to say good morning to you. It's now 6:40. Not much in the way of wind. Clearly you wouldn't have much wind if you have fog, so winds are light, and temperatures are running in the 60s this morning. 68 is our current temperature at McGee-Tyson as of 6 a.m. It is 59 in Crossville, so we've got 9-degree spread between Cumberland County and Knox County. So it just depends on where you are to start the morning. But I want to say good morning to you. If you're on the call, we'd love to say hi to you. Dew points, if you're curious, are still, they're moderate. They're not necessarily off the chart. I mentioned dew points anytime they're near 70. It's very swampy. It's very stuffy. And you could translate a 70-degree dew point to a bad hair day. But here, we're closer to 60. Many of us are in the upper 50s in the plateau, so the comfort level is still there, but it's gradually going to get a little bit hotter today. I suspect upper 80s for most and probably 90 for Knoxville proper here on a Wednesday. So I want to say good morning to you. If you're on the call, I see Danny is watching, Dawn is watching, Fred says good morning, and he's got a weather report. I have time. I believe I could put this out here. Fred says good morning. He's got 65 degrees. He describes it as pleasant in Maryville, in Blount County. Great to have Fred here this morning. Marilyn says hello. She is on here, and she's pointing out no fog here in the White Pine area, but just another amazing morning. Marilyn is one of my premium members, so I know she's in White Pine. Glad to have Marilyn here. And Steve Stone's on YouTube. You can see the little icon, the red one in the bottom right. He is on YouTube saying good morning. He's got his sunshine and his happy face. Glad to have Steve on here as well. So let me keep things moving because we've got a lot to cover in terms of smoke, in terms of temperature, in terms of Ernesto, the tropics. We've got a lot to cover. But where is the rain this morning? It's in the state. I mean, it's in the state of Tennessee. It's just nowhere near us, right? You can see you got some showers west of Nashville, showers west of Music City, and back toward approaching Memphis. Memphis is about to get hammered with some rain and some clouds coming down from Arkansas. So from the northwest, showers moving into Memphis. So if you're traveling in that direction, it's all moving in the direction of Tupelo and Huntsville, at least the way things are. So I don't want to delay any further. Let me show you what I expect today. It is now 6:43. I'm expecting a 90-degree day in Knoxville. If we hit 90, it would be the 35th day. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Wait a minute. Isn't 34 the average? Yes, and it's only the 14th of August. We still have September, right? We average about 4 days in September. We still have more 90s in our future. Now, it may ebb and flow, and it may more ebb than flow. But as far as the 90-degree days, some of us will hit 90. In my view, some will only get mid-80s like Jamestown, Fentress County, Oneida, Scott County. You may have a hard time hitting 86. So it's not like you're in the same path as the valley, but the valley temperatures from Kingston, Oak Ridge, Knoxville should approach 90. And Newport could easily hit 90 degrees today. Just wanted to give you a shout out if you're on the call, because I want to appreciate any time that you're on here. Danny is saying hello. He says, go Vols. Nice looking tie. Yeah, it's my Lady Vols tie. I could prove that. But he says, good morning. Hope you have a great day, as to you as well, my friend. Thank you for being on here. And I just want to bring you some notes here as we look at the forecast. By the way, it is Lady Vols tie. There's the Lady Vols. See, you know, I had to prove it. Anyway, 87, 65. Those were the highs and lows yesterday. Yesterday we had 87. Started the morning off at 65. Normal high and low is 88, 68. It's interesting to note, though, the record low is 10 years old. In 2014, we hit 58 on this date. So that's still one of the record lows. We also tied that in 1967. So 58 record low from 2014 and 1967. And we did hit 98 degrees in 1995. Quite some time ago. So there you go. Another hot day, especially today, but the humidity will be low. So it's a trade-off. It's not just the heat, it's the humidity. We hear that a lot. But in this case, It's just the heat. The humidity will not be much of a factor. The Ultimate Doppler Radar, presented by your local Marco's Pizza, appears to be dry, although a lot of this is a little butterfly effect. You get that ground clutter around the radar site, so sometimes it can be deceiving, but we do have the expectation for a dry Wednesday. Marcos.com. Plan your lunch plans today or dinner if you're looking for delivery. Marcos has a location in Hardin Valley and Farragut. They're also in Maryville, Fountain City, and Halls. They're in Oak Ridge, Middlebrook Pike, and Ebenezer Road. One of the great things about Marcos, they give back a lot to the community. They are corporate sponsors of No Kid Hungry. And if you're hungry for a Magnifico pepperoni, or pepperoni Magnifico, it is for a limited time less than $10, so check that out. If not today, maybe tonight, and then or tomorrow. And then Pizzoli is a great lunch item. I'm in love with the pepperoni and sausage one that's pictured at the top. That is my personal favorite, but they also have buffalo chicken, chicken bacon ranch, as well as just the plain old pepperoni for less than $6 for a limited time. Check them out at Marcos.com. We love Marcos, and they're a big sponsor of Captain Accurate Weather. Now, notice the radar not showing much here. We've mentioned off to the west, there are some showers moving from Arkansas down in the direction of Memphis. So again, if you're traveling in these areas, and there's so much rain that they've now issued some flash flood warnings. Those are the little burgundy boxes northwest of Jonesboro. So they're getting a lot of rain in a short period of time. More heat concerns in orange with heat advisories. And oh yes, the fuchsia. I think I mispronounced that yesterday. I think I said turquoise. But anyway, fuchsia is the excessive heat warning there in Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas. So the heat is even worse there. And there are some hot areas in Florida, so much so that they've issued some heat advisories on the eastern side of the Sunshine State this morning. So that's the big view. Let's check in with you real quick. Lana Johnson's on here. She says hello. Good morning from Kodak. She says a little bit of fog on the river. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Love the flowers. Thank you so much for that, Alana. And also would ask, if you are counting the fogs, does a little fog on the river count? Some would say, no, it's got to be dense fog. No, it just has to be there somewhere. I guess. I mean, that's like saying if it's going to translate to a snow, it's just a little bit of snow on the river. A little snow on the river, a little fog on the river. I don't know how one defines that. It may be loosely defined as the weather lore would suggest. By the way, we've now had 2 1/3 inches of rain for August. We are now running about 0.64 inches above normal for the month thus far, because it is almost the middle of the month. It is the 14th now. And with no rain today, we're still going to be a little bit above average for August. But we had such a weird July because it was on strong with the rain and then it pulled back, had a drought situation for a couple of weeks, and now we've kind of erased that in many cases, not everywhere. But the dryness, it's been hard because it's been feast or famine. You look at the month of May, 8.5 inches. I put the emoji there because that is still the 4th wettest May on record. And we have records that go back with the Weather Service, going back to the year 1871 when Ulysses S. Grant was president. So if May 2024 was the 4th wettest May since 1871, that's a big deal. 8.5 inches, you don't get that kind of rain very often in a month's time. But this is kind of interesting because you'll notice there's nothing to see here other than maybe some specks of rain. Maybe Bryson City today or tonight. There's little shadings of I guess a little bit of coloring, mainly to the east of Mount LeConte. That may be what develops today. Once we move into Friday, I said yesterday, I still stand by this, Friday is going to be a super soaker. Now, if you stop the clock at 5 o'clock and you say, wait a minute, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. You said that Friday was going to be soggy. Yep, I do. But just give it a couple more hours. Because probably if you're driving home at 5 o'clock on a Friday and you say, I haven't had any rain, give it a couple of hours. Let's just go to 7 p.m. Watch what happens. It goes from nothing at 5. Let's go to 7. Boom. Wow, like 3/4 of an inch all of a sudden in Maryville. So somewhere between 5 and 7, and again, timing is going to be very different from model to model, different solutions. But it does suggest we get quite a bit of rain going into Friday night, Saturday morning. Because here now we have over 1.5 inches in Maryville, as projected by the models. And these solutions change their tune every 6 to 12 hours. We get new model runs that frequently that you really have a hard time hanging your hat on this data. I mean, you can say, yes, it's going to rain, it's good guidance, but it's not something you're going to say, well, I was expecting 0.21 in Morristown, and I didn't get exactly 0.21. That's okay. This is just giving us some guidance as to where we are headed, which is toward a rainier end to the work week. Does that help? I hope so. Because some might find it's feast or famine. I mean, 1/4 inch in Morristown and over 1 inch in Knoxville, that's a big difference. You got to pick one, And one of the things that we do as we get closer, and especially on my premium service, is we examine the different types of solutions more frequently. By the way, the future rainfall shows we're probably by Sunday, many of us over an inch of rain. That is certainly on the table. It'll depend on, again, the track, and it'll depend on the timing. As far as timing and smoke, some of you are very concerned about smoke. Again, this is just a product that gives you what's going on in the atmosphere, vertically integrated, the whole column of air. It suggests a little yellow patch of moderate smoke, probably between Jamestown and Wartburg by 5 o'clock. This is, again, model-driven, but it does suggest we are a far cry from done. Look at Canada. I want you to focus north of Billings, Montana. Watch what happens. As far as the smoke, boom, look at all that red area coming in. It's just pouring down. We are bound to see more of this come down, as Rapid City may rapidly see smoke increase by Thursday night. So if that continues on its track, we'll have to watch this too. So again, it's one of those situations, if it's not raining, we're probably looking at smoke in the atmosphere, and it may be for those who are sensitive. If you're asthmatic, if you have sensitive issues with air quality, these are things you'll want to watch. And again, we do this a lot more often on the premium side, so I'd love to invite you to join us. We do look at this on a regular basis. By the way, the clouds, not much to show here, so expect a bright sun-filled day. We'll call it hazy sun. As we've already indicated, we've had now 34 days. 34 days of 90-degree weather. That was 2 weeks in June, 15 days in July, and now we've had 5, count them 5, in August. But today could be a 90. Today could be day 6, and that would bring us up to 35. So if you're keeping score, we have not had a 90-degree day in a week. We haven't had one since the 7th of August, officially, at McGee-Tyson. Had a little bit of a cooler day there on Monday at 85 degrees. If you're on the call, I just want to say good morning to you. It is now 6:51. My goal is to be done at the top of the hour. But I do have a note from Janet. She says, good morning from Talbot. She says, hoping the rain this weekend helps my allergies. 63 degrees. I think it can. And the ragweed is coming on strong too, Janet. So if you're a ragweed sufferer, not just you, but anyone listening, things are likely to get more problematic in the mid to latter part of August. It typically does. Ragweed is a problem for those who might be suffering for that ailment. Certainly it is sensitive to a lot of folks. By the way, good morning to Kay Human. She's on there. She's got her avatar. Love the fact you got your little pictures there. And one of the benefits of being up early is I can put your picture and name on the screen to recognize you. Dawn Rumsey's on here. She is asking for, what does she say? She said, please educate those of us that don't know the story about the fog and the snow, okay? Well, it's just real simple, Dawn. They count the weather lore. Kind of like, where did I come back on camera? One of the kind of fun things about looking at these types of situations is just like the groundhog, right? It's weather lore. I don't know how many of you really put much stock in the groundhog on February 2nd. Every February 2nd he comes out. If he sees his shadow, then it usually means 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see his shadow, does it mean an early spring? Some people live and die by that weather lore, and the same situation applies to fogs in August. So if you count 10 fogs in August, the assumption is you're going to have 10 snows. Whether they're good snows or small snows, it's all up to the eye of the beholder. So I throw that out there. Hopefully that gives you some sense. Some people believe in it thoroughly, but again, it is not necessarily something that has been proven from the academic world. It is certainly fun to watch, and for those of our team snow, there's not much reason. You don't need more reason to get excited about winter than once it gets foggy in August. By the way, welcome back students and teachers. I know it's back to school last week, this week, and just continuing on. Temperature should be around 75 at 10, 87 by 2 o'clock. 87 by 2 o'clock, expecting a high temperature right around 90 degrees. And again, that would be day number 35. It will turn hotter, but I keep it dry here on a Wednesday. I do have some isolated showers possible over a storm on Thursday. And then things get really interesting on Friday. But our high temperature today expected in La Follette at 89. Just to recap, 89 in Tellico Plains. If you're just joining us, Crossville, I expect a high for you around 86 degrees this afternoon. Let's do the humidity tracker. It does look like it tries to come back in the Southern Valley, that is the humidity, by midday today. But then it retreats. Like, look at how it disappears. See, it's all about tracking the green ooze. Because if it's green, or multiple shades of green, then it's probably quite stuffy. So it all is relative, but we will see this come back, I think, especially Thursday night. The humidity will come back, and once it's with us,
It has a better chance of raining on Friday and Saturday. So the icky, sticky weather that you and I associate with summer, there it is. Look how dark green that is. That's Friday at 5 o'clock. It will be awfully sticky, stuffy, and humid and continue on a low comfort afternoon. Temperatures right now are 68 in Knoxville, significantly warmer in Nashville at 73, and they're at 83 degrees, believe it or not, in Memphis. So a much warmer start to the morning, no doubt. They're over there in Shelby County, where Memphis is. By the way, Karen Robbins says hello. She's got her cat there. She says, good morning, David. Hoping for some rain this weekend. I think you're going to be just in time for that rainy pattern. Is it Friday? Saturday? Probably our best chances for sure. Friday night, too. But dew point temperatures are running in the 70s out west and the 60s here, so it's not too bad. It's pretty comfortable. We'll call it a comfortable day today if you can stand the heat, because we will be in the upper 80s to near 90. Feels like temperature doesn't even register in many parts of Kentucky because the actual temperature is what it feels like. This is just more of a perception product. Sun came up about a minute ago, 6:54, and the sun will be going down at 8:26. Somebody asked me if that are the days getting early? Is it getting dark early? It is not, your imagination. Yes and yes, it is. And with 8:26, now that we've hit sun going down before 8:30, I think there's something psychological that many of us are saying, okay, let's just play football. Let's just get to the autumn season. And soon, middle school, high schools, and of course the Vols will be playing. Vols play on the 31st of August. We're watching Ernesto. I like to show you the spaghetti plots because this shows you how not all models agree. Sometimes people are astonished by this. How come they can't agree? This one looks like it's headed to Charlotte. You see that little spaghetti noodle? That's why we call them spaghetti plots. They head towards South Carolina. Surely we can dispense of that. We can probably disregard that particular solution because it wants to go toward West Virginia, while all the others seem like it's heading north into the Atlantic. And that's probably one of the many tools, in fact, it is one of the many tools the National Hurricane Center has. It is good to report that Ernesto, well, almost a hurricane now, 70 miles an hour. That came in at 5 a.m. this morning. But it did miss, for the most part, it missed Puerto Rico. It was supposed to just graze San Juan, and I'm sure they got quite a bit of rain, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 inches of rain or more. But right now, with winds of 70, watch how quickly this thing ramps up. And now the Hurricane Center, which tends to have a little hard time with intensity, believes this will be a Category 3. They do believe this will become a major hurricane in the middle of the Atlantic. This is Tropical Storm Ernesto. Look what happens between now and 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. It goes from 70 to 100. That means it's going to increase potentially 30 miles an hour at its core as it moves into the waters of the Atlantic and possibly swings by Bermuda, because you can see there's a 3 there at 2 p.m. Friday, 115, and at 1 a.m. Friday, 115. So you've got 2 3s there. So this thing could become a pretty strong Category 3 hurricane as it closes in on that little island. There it is. That's Bermuda. You see that just north of the 2 a.m. Saturday? That is Little Bermuda. It's like a hook island. Looks like a fish hook. But that beautiful island with pink sandy beaches may very well get pounded by Ernesto, a hurricane at that time, soon to be hurricane, but clearly with high surf on the East Coast for us. Rip currents, that's probably about all we'll see out of this, but it will not necessarily. I think certainly Nova Scotia and parts of Canada certainly need to watch Ernesto and his final ultimation or destination. Tropical storm names, we go to Francine and Gordon. They would be the next names on the list. And you can see that at least the hurricane season keeps it really ramped up over the next couple of weeks. More than half of the season occurs after August 15th, and of course that is tomorrow. By the way, there's no new patches of color in the Atlantic. That means the Hurricane Center is not eyeballing anything new past Ernesto, but these things change, and they do ramp up in a short period of time, even in the month of August. Headlines: hazy sun and hotter today, more rain chances late this week, and some isolated severe storms possible on Friday. Yes, we could have some damaging wind in addition to the crazy rain that could arrive in spots on Friday. We have 68 degrees as of just about 7 o'clock. Valley Planner takes us up into the upper 80s to near 90, so by, say, 1 o'clock, we should be around 84, about 82 at lunch, and about 90 by the time we hit 5 o'clock this afternoon. Chance of rain goes up to 80% Friday and Saturday. and basically stair steps back downward Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. Want to talk about scattered severe storms in yellow? We have a few hot spots today to watch. If you have family outside of Tennessee, I'm looking at Omaha, Nebraska. I'm looking at Lincoln, Nebraska, and perhaps near Des Moines, St. Joseph's. Those are the scattered severe storms areas. Dark green would be isolated severe storms, but all that's going to head toward here as we head into Friday. Nothing to see here as far as color. And then once we move into Thursday, it migrates to St. Louis and Chicago. So Springfield, Missouri, Columbia, St. Louis, and Chicago may have some scattered severe storms, and you can see more general thunderstorms possible here on Thursday. I have a 20% chance, but notice how this big blanket of green, which wasn't there yesterday, now covers most of Tennessee, probably every ounce of Tennessee with the exception of maybe Northeast. And then up toward Detroit, Columbus, Nashville, Knoxville, all fair game on Friday for isolated severe storms. So I wanted to throw that out there so that you're aware of what's going to happen. Now, meanwhile, today, most of the rain will stay toward Memphis, maybe a few showers around Bryson City, maybe Asheville, but I think we're kind of wedged in that dry slot where things will stay on the dry side. We head into Thursday, 20% chance of rain will be possible. You can see that. And then once we move into Thursday, Friday, again, this is when things get ramped up because the front's going to begin to move in and it will start to fill in like so. So the rain will be more intense heading into Friday night, and eventually on Saturday. So that's where things are on the Futurecast. Unsettled weather that some might be saying, hey, I'm ready for it. Let's bring it on. Temperatures by midday today, pick out your favorite town. Should be around 83 in Knoxville for lunchtime, but lots of sunshine. And then by the time we hit the rest of the day, it should be around closer to 90 degrees by 5 o'clock. So we'll keep an eye on that as far as the weather is concerned. And then tonight, we'll be easing back into the mid-60s. I have about 65. Some may not get lower than 67, 66, but there will be some scattered clouds and a little bit of fog to greet you first thing tomorrow. So that's the Futurecast close up. It is now 7:01. My goal was to be done. I'm going to do my best to finish here. 90 for a high today. Hazy sun turning hotter. Winds out of the northeast about 3 to 8 miles per hour. Today, a high of 88 in Wartburg. 90 for Newport, Dandridge, Jefferson City, about 88 for Morristown, 90 for Oak Ridge and Clinton. Today, look for a high in Atlanta if you're traveling south, 90 there, 88 in Lexington, about 86 for Charlotte if you're headed east. Tonight, we're down to 65. There will be some fog to contend with and maybe count toward your August count. Low temperatures about 65 degrees. 66 for Maryville, 68 for a low in Tellico Plains. And here is your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville, East Tennessee. So I've got 90 today, 90 tomorrow. We're pretty close to that. As we head into Friday and Saturday, I've got us at upper 80s with that 80% chance of showers. Won't rain the whole time, but when it rains, it will likely pour. And again, we could have some severe weather, isolated as it may be, strong to isolated on Friday. Temperatures back to about 84 next Tuesday. So if you're on the calls, I want to say good morning to you. Deborah Owen is on here. I want to give her a shout out. She's got a happy face. We get her face on camera. Love it. Thank you, Deborah, for being here. Always appreciate that. And of course, there are some other comments. I'll do my best to answer them throughout the morning. Darcy's on here. She's also one of my premium members. I don't want to leave her out. She says, happy hump day. Thanking God for cooler mornings. The plants have needed a break, and the dew points too. Absolutely, no doubt about that. Now, I mentioned premium, but we have a free product called the Captain Accurate Weather app with Pete Michaels Traffic. You get all the National Weather Service alerts plus 3 extras plus lightning alerts. If you have a smartphone, which most of us do, and don't have a weather app, I would recommend this one is free. You get the weather, you get the traffic, you get everything paired together. You get the private sector, which is Barron, and the public sector, which is the National Weather Service, and it's a perfect marriage of them both. You get updates, and you can also keep it on your iPad. By the way, the premium service, if you're looking for something extra, hit the subscribe button on the top of my Facebook page. You get weather that goes beyond 7 days. We focus on 2 weeks. We focus on 3 weeks. We focus on 30 days into the future. We do little previews of what may be coming so that we can mentally prepare. You're also the first to see every forecast as a premium member. You get more Facebook Lives, typically 4 extras in a month, because I usually do them on Sundays for my premium members to help them plan for the week ahead, and they get fewer ads. How's that? That's a real deal. Only 16 cents a day. That factors out to $4.99 a month. That's like a price of a cup of coffee. You get all this extra weather information. Typically, I'm posting 15 to 20 posts a day. That's a lot of posts, but it's extra information that you might find useful. Who knows, if you're a landscaper, a truck driver, a school teacher, wait, well, when's it going to snow? I get a lot of premium members who want to jump in on the winter season, and I'll be having my winter weather outlook posted in the coming months as well. So keep that in mind. So if you want to join us, just hit the subscribe button or go to CaptainAccurate.com for more details. Well, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. We'll see you here next time. Take care.